The most fulfilling part of life is finding something worth keeping. Finding that noteworthy person, object, moral, or idea that makes you desire to preserve it forever. Even more so fulfilling is the act of creating something worth keeping, and knowing that it was yourself and yourself alone that brought it into existence. Since I was a small child in elementary school, I sought to create that something worth keeping, and sought to create that something that others would find worthy of keeping too. There's no feeling like that of creating a crater in the timeline of being, as it makes the creator impactful, and most extraordinary of all, posthumous. And what is that something worth keeping for myself? My own act of creating a crater before I'm no longer here? That's picking up my pen and deciding to create a new world, one that diverges from reality. It is the craft of taking something from fantasy and making it reality for 1 second for that one reader through the art of persuasion, the most powerful ammo the writer can be armed with. When the sun shrinks into the horizon at the end of each day, all you have is yourself and your voice that can carry. And when that voice does carry upon what seemed like ages of striving, the mastery had by the writer would be conveyed onto the reader in breathtaking waves of understanding and empathy. Imagine what can occur once an idea is empathized with. Allow myself to share a personal anecdote. Upon selling out my book launch for my first essay, Social Erosion, I began to be recognized for not simply the fact that I published a book, but for the hard work I put into my own doings. One day, when walking into a bar, the bartender was shocked to see that local author across the table, saying she was honored to meet someone who did what I did. As a writer, there were times where I wanted to quit. There were times where I didn't want to do it anymore. I share such a story to prove the fact that dreams can have greater impacts if the dreamers believe in themselves to conquer those trials. My moral is that if I touch just one writer, it's mission accomplished. Writing without a reader is like cooking without guests. Why cook at all? Persuasion all depends on the writer knowing their audience, for without it, there's no one to persuade. When thinking of an idea that resonates with every fiber of your being, you feel as though you could shout it from the rooftops. That idea is now the center of my world. And if, through my vocabulary, my pondering of random word after word in silence, my syntax structures, and my careful selection of rhetoric, I can make my own idea the center of someone else's world, I am provided with purpose. And I can inspire others to find purpose too. Whether such purposes are found in starting a social movement, causing a protest, or writing a book like I did at age 17, ideas can always be spread, and impacts can always be made. But it all boils down to the originating inspirer, the writer, who decides if their readers' eyes will either flutter past or intently examine the persuasive words written between their covers. Although the freedom the pen offers me can prompt these chain reactions from the new worlds I created, knowing that I can evoke some thought or commotion in this life is what matters most. It can be one reader who passively thinks to themselves for a minute after putting down the book, or someone who does in fact cause a booming social movement. But nonetheless, it was an impact made because of my own words. Life should be taken advantage of to be posthumous, to make a lasting legacy, and to engrave the calendar. When I'm no longer here, I want what I left behind to have been worth keeping for hundreds of years. And amid those long, stormy centuries of knowledge, my words will carry and push through the wind. Far too many lives are being lived in vain, and essentially forgotten. And if it takes me daydreaming of, yes, random word after word to comprise that first sentence of the next War and Peace, then so be it. Craters are not easy. They take immense force and collision to make the impacts that they make, but they are lasting, the most rewarding result. Making your own crater on a planet with very few alike is a wonderful feat, for the fallout will be your ideal to savor. That is why I write, to enjoy the journey and destination, to watch it all eventually unfold into a sought-out yet unanticipated dream of spreading my word. Nothing is more gratifying than finishing a great book and feeling convinced enough to want to write the same. And when you remarkably do write the same, you want to project that innovation and confidence onto your own readers. So, long story short, a ripple effect was made, souls were touched, and most prominently, that one reader found something worth keeping. Mission accomplished. Thank you.